All right, we're at day 672. 72. I'm gonna set you guys up here. There's a little nature tripod if I can. Let's see if we can get that. Yeah. All right, so I'm out at Foster Creek. Just thought I'd come out and scout out the woods here. Obviously, we got quite a few of the blowdowns. There's a lot of pine here. Forgive me. Just trying to get a better shot here for you guys, but not sure if this will work or not. So anyway, it's a big tree. Might just set you guys on the ground here, but you can kind of see this guy coming across the trail here. So I didn't plan on coming out today. I was actually going to go up towards Trace Ridge and run, just get some time in, but thought about this place, and after the storm we had, you know, I said, well, I'll come out here and check, see how it is. And yeah, sure enough, this place has always gets some blowdowns, so I'm gonna try to get some stuff off the trail while I'm out here. There we go. Let's see if we can get this guy out of the way. There we go. All right. Get away from the trail. Is that good, Miles? So, yeah, that was... Thankfully that one was movable. But yeah, just this little loop here. And for those of you who don't know, I'm one of the trail maintainers out here. I work with the this one's a little bit bigger. I need a handsaw. It's still, root's still in there, I think. Yeah, looks like that's still in there. Let's see if we can break it. Camera might go flying here. This one doesn't want to come. Doesn't want to come quietly. See if we can just break the limbs. Sorry, guys. There we go. Just trying to get the trail clear so people can stay on the trail and not go off trail. And what happens is it starts rerouting the trail, and we start causing erosion where it's not supposed to be. Just like a puddle, we tend to run around it, and if it stays wet for a long period of time, unfortunately, if people start going so much around it, it creates a tread on the far side, which erodes down the trail on the side, and then the puddle becomes bigger because now we've created a bigger pocket for the water. So if you see water, like I'm kind of running through some water, you can see there's a channel here, which means I need to open it up so that the water can flow off the trail. But the correct thing to do is just run straight through the puddle. I know we don't want to get our feet wet, but it's best for the trail. So, but that's the correct way to do it, is just run straight through the puddle. That way we don't create any further erosion. So technically, this is not up here where I usually go. That's not actually part of the Forest Service trail. That's just the user trail that, you know, people use. So it's not technically under my management. But what I was saying earlier is I'm a part of the Carolina Mountain Club, and they are the volunteers that help manage many of the trails in the area, especially the Mountains to Sea Trail. We got a big one here that I'm dragging off. Mountains to Sea Trail and the Appalachian Trail. They do many of those sections. Actually, the entirety of the Mountains to Sea Trail here in Western North Carolina is pretty much managed by the Carolina Mountain Club. I have my own section of that as well. For those of you familiar with Shut-In, I manage from 151 to the finish. So if anybody that knows Shut-In, it's basically your final climb. It's a big one. I manage that section of trail. They call it elk pasture. And what that entails is basically once or twice a year I have to weed whack the section because the grass does grow pretty high up there. And then in the spring and in the fall, that's also a user trail. I've cut through on there too, but I'm gonna go through these later. I'm just going through the main trails right now just to make sure that there's no big trees. But back to the Mountains to Sea. We clear out the water bars in the spring and in the fall. And the water bars are diversion for water on steep hills. So if water comes down, a water bar diverts it off the trail so that it doesn't continue down the trail and erode the trail further. So you have to clean those out every once in a while. They fill up with debris, they fill up with sediment. So we've got, we call them hazel hose, and they pull the dirt, kind of make a nice channel. Actually, this is like a creek, but it's also a water bar. You can see the rocks right here. So the rocks help channel the water so that it doesn't create further erosion and make it wider. So there are a lot of different techniques to divert water and make sure that it doesn't, you know, further erode the trail. There we go. What do we got here? All right. There's just so many pines here. You can see all these guys here. This little spindly one. The pines are a softwood. They do not have a great root system. Their roots go pretty shallow. So as they age and get bigger, the root system can't sustain the weight of the crown of the tree. So they typically break. I see a lot of them break from the top. Some of them just kind of blow over. So in this forest here, this is a pine that I'm pulling right now. Just fell over, but let's see. You know what I spend most of the time here doing? A little pine here, just tipping over. You know, it's just things that. There we go. Just get, they'll fall into the trail So, you know, I just come and make sure that there's nothing. I usually weed black over here in Foster Creek, like once a year. As I said, I maintain this area, and the other gentleman brings kind of like almost like a sling blade or a reaper, if you will, and just kind of knocks it down as he hikes around, which is great. You know, usually around Father's Day, I just come out with my weed whacker and hit this. One of my friends, Shannon, she came out last year and we cleared out there was an old single track, and then they logged and kind of ruined, or just totally wiped out a section of that, but nobody had really maintained it since then. So you know, I came back with her and we kind of cleared it and noticed that somebody had built a bridge, and so somebody was working on reestablishing the trail, which is cool. But if you're interested in trail maintenance, you know, connect with a local group. There are so many different user groups that maintain our trails, and if you don't know who or, you know, how to contact them, just reach out to the governing Forest Service, whether it's state or national, whoever it may be, and ask them if they have any groups that help maintain, or if there's a nonprofit like our DuPont State Forest, which is the heavily used state forest. It is actually maintained by a group, a nonprofit called Friends of DuPont, and they do tremendous work. Such a great active group. You know, I mentioned Carolina Mountain Club, such an active group. They have weekly work days, and then there's quarterly work days for weekends. Usually they just set you on a simple task of like showing you how to clear water bars. Now, you know, what I'm doing is just hand, and by hand it's fine. If you use a handsaw, that's fine. But once you move up to like a chainsaw or using something gas powered, even the weed eaters, you have to have a certification. Each year I have to do a recertification for weed eating. There is a chainsaw permit. It's called your Sawyers, S-A-W-Y-E-R-S, Sawyers. And I think that's every 2 or 3 years. I need to update mine. I haven't been able to update since COVID. So technically I'm not supposed to use my chainsaw out here, but I can use a handsaw or just pull the trees out of the way. So, you know, there's different permits, but like I said, they'll usually start you out with something simple if you want to adopt a trail, like clearing the water bars. There's usually a reporting system. So if you're out and you're going for a run, it's great if you can report down trees, especially like, you know, a really big blowdown that requires a chainsaw. If you can get them coordinates and take a picture, we usually use Gaia, G-A-I-A, and the Gaia app on our phones. It can record the GPS location of the tree, and you could take a picture with your phone and attach that to the coordinate, and then you can just send that to the reporting agency. Mountains to Sea, and like a lot of these ancillary trails like I'm on, you know, you basically just send them to the Carolina Mountain Club, and they facilitate getting a crew out there to cut them, or let the maintainer know if they have a Sawyer, you know, that you can take out there and cut them. So, but yeah, you can be just a a big help by, you know, instead of just running by a blow by, just record what's the coordinates of it. If you can get a picture, you know, approximate distance from a trailhead, that kind of stuff, all that information is super helpful. We got a pretty good size one here. Yeah, this one is definitely not going to be a handsaw cut. If it is, that was going to take a while. I have to look into how to, or when they're offering the research for Sawyers. But yeah, there's a lot of pines right here, so I kind of expected to see more actually. Oh, this is a mess. Thankfully this isn't far from the trailhead. I think I could most likely get this with my handsaw. This is actually broke, so yeah, just stuff like this, you know, just reporting it. And even the small brush, even if you just, you know, get it off the trail, that's a huge help. It lets people get through easier, makes others experience, you know, a lot more positive. We all know it, like when we go out to a trail, like, oh my god, there's so many blowdowns, oh, it's impossible to run. Well, be a part of the solution, you know, help, you know, in the least, just reporting it, you know, so the entities know there's so many trails, the Forest Service can't keep up with them. That's why they have to have volunteers like us, you know, out there to not only work, but report that they're down. So, you know, get the word out, let them know, you know, start the process. Because, you know, it's not essential that you you adopt a trail. You know, you can just be a part of a work day, get out there. You know, a lot of races are requiring it. We require it for Hellbender. Not necessarily doing trail work, but just volunteering. Yeah, it's great to give back. We believe in that. I believe in that, obviously. So I've reduced the amount of trails that I manage just due to time restraints. Hey, buddy. So I used to have a lot more, but, you know, just due to my schedule and availability for doing such, I had to scale back. So like I said, I co-manage this one, and then I still have my section of the mountains to see, and that's quite enough for me. You know, I hope to get out for some work days on Hellbender. They have one coming up, I think, on the trail from Camp Greer that we hope to use for Hellbender one day. I think that's coming up. So in January, that's through the G5 Trail Collective. So got to see about that. But yeah, there's just so many entities that are doing such good things for our trails. Really hated that article that Outdoor put on, but you know, I think it prompted runners to kind of get out there, do some work. And if you don't know what article I'm referring to, a gentleman wrote that trail runners are slugs because we don't do any trail work. Now, you know, it's true that, like, the other user groups are so much more organized and do a lot of work. Credit to them. But I know a lot of trail runners that certainly do trail maintenance, but we can always do more. So I just encourage you to get out there, you know, do what you can when you can. We all realize we're busy, and the kids' activities, it's hard. I totally get that. You know, believe me, you know, I just do what I can. And I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be able to, you know, clean up these trails because I have some extra time. But you know, if you don't, just every once in a while, do what you can. Trail maintenance it makes a huge difference. Like, hi, buddy. Like I said, there's just so many trails, and, like, you know, ones that are in, you know, really need of help. You know, those are the ones that perhaps you can prompt your run club to see about adopting or, you know, joining with, you know, an existing maintenance group to collaborate and work on. Most times when you work in the forest, there's a volunteer agreement that has to be made between the you know, the governing agency, whether it be a state run park or a, you know, national forest. There's usually kind of a contract that's signed, you know, and that way, you know, it's understood, you know, this group is going to be responsible for these trails. So, but you know, your club can connect with those entities. Like we have SORBA here, SORBA, which is our local mountain bike association, and they do a tremendous amount, so much work. So, you know, our club can connect with them, and we, you know, initially before G5 Trail Collective, that's what it was. Over, you know, on the Hellbender course, we would connect with, you know, the SORBA guys and do work out there. And the Forest Service teamed up with us, which was really cool to have, you know, mountain bikers, runners, and the Forest Service all working side by side. That's a collaboration I don't get to see too often, but super stoked, you know, when I do see that kind of stuff. Good boy, bud. So, yeah, just thought I'd give a little, you know, promotion. You're okay, dude? A little promotion for doing some trail work. You know, even those trails, like in the big state parks like Umstead, you know, they need trail work. They need help sustaining those trails. So reach out to them, see if they have a work day coming up, or if there's anything you can lend a hand to. I mean, heck, even just trash pickup, you know, that's huge. Just going to a trailhead that's, you know, there's tons of litter, and just having a pickup day. You can just let the Forest Service know you'd like to do that, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to facilitate and, you know, give you recommendations as to, you know, trash disposal and all that kind of stuff. So much stuff you can do. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy stuff like like chainsawing and, well, the weed eating, that's a huge one. I mean, obviously right now we don't need a ton of weed eating, but you know, as the winter comes to a close and spring opens up and everything starts growing back, and you start to notice grass is getting high again, especially on those trails that, you know, you use and you're like, oh, I can't run there in the summer. Those are the trails that you should be finding out, can you help, you know, weed whack. This one here, this takes me about 8 hours to weed whack. The loop that I just ran takes me about 8 hours to weed whack on my own. If I have help, obviously it goes a lot faster. The Mountains of Sea one, that one's near impossible to do in one day if I did it solo. I always need help up there, and I always get help, which is tremendous. A credit to a lot of my friends and runners. You know, I always have people that come out and help, because that is a tough section to manage. You know, the steeper the section is, the more water bars are needed so that we don't have a ton of erosion. So if you have steep trails around you, just know that there's a lot of work that goes into those, and I can't take credit. You know, my compatriots at Carolina Mountain Club, they have done a ton of stone work to help retain that trail. A lot of stone steps, you know, just so that when we're out there running and it's raining, we're not eating away at the steep part, and neither is the water. So huge credit to them and their work. They do a tremendous amount on that section. I am super grateful to have that kind of help, just because it is, you know, it's a lot. Some of these logs are good because they create water breaks. So some logs that you'll see I just walk over, like the one I just did. This guy right here, kind of a downward slope, and you see how stuff kind of builds up right there. That's great because it'll make the water run off that way down the hill rather than along the trail. So some stuff is okay. I don't have to clear everything, but yeah, the wind the other night was pretty powerful. So, but yeah, like stuff like this one coming up, that's pretty big, but let's see if we can get that off the trail, because this is kind of flat, so water would just sit here if we try to there we go. So yeah, if we left that there, water would just build up because it's flat. It doesn't have anywhere to go unless we cut away the side of the hill. So a little bit of thought has to go into, you know, which trees stay and which trees go. But it's just nice to get stuff out of the way so people aren't rolling their ankles or tripping over stuff. Now again, you know, this trail actually, like I said, it's not designated. You're not supposed to really cut stuff here, because it's not a designated trail. So you can see the red band on the tree up here. I'll go right past it. This is a little tree to my left here. That red band signifies Forest Service. This is Forest Service land. Purple designates private property. So if you see those bands, purple is private property. And they're trying to tell you you're now not on Forest Service land, or you're not where you're supposed to be. So just be cognizant of that as well. Lots of stuff. Whew. But there we go. Looking good. Looking good. Sorry if the camera's going crazy here. I'm just trying to pick up some stuff and get it off the trail. So my apologies if the camera shots are all over the place. But trying to work and talk and record is a few too many things at once. So we'll go down one more trail. I'll probably hit a few more places just to kind of check them out, but it's just nice to get out here and relax and do a little work. I actually thought about maybe throwing in a little bit of fartlek today, but It's just above 20 degrees. Not quite feeling like doing anything, you know, pickup today, so I think I'll just stick to what I'm up to and enjoy this run. Just planning on probably like an hour to an hour 10. So might not get much distance today, but that's fine. Accomplishing another task. And I'm getting miles out too, so. We're happy. This trail's not looking so bad. Found another trail. We went past it earlier. I forgot to note it in the video, but it has a great climb. And it links up over to some trails I know in the national forest, but again, I think it goes through some private property. I've never connected it, and it's not really a proper trail, to be honest. I'm pretty sure hunters use it, because I found a hunting blind that somebody had made. So I think it's just those guys use it for hunting. You know, they get up there on the ridge and get a really good view, just looking down. So that's a spindly one. Get it off the trail here. All right, there we go. Good job, Miles. All right, that brings us back out to the main trail. So I'm gonna keep going, but if you guys have questions on how you can connect to people or with myself for trail work, especially if you need the volunteer hours, you know, let me know. If you're looking to volunteer this year, need some hours, we're always looking for volunteers for Hellbender. Again, dates are May 6th and 7th. You can sign up for the tasks, the volunteer tasks on Ultra Sign Up. Always need help there. And I'll probably be scouting up on the mountains to see here pretty soon. Anyhow, thank you for joining me once more. I hope maybe I gave you some ideas, maybe motivate you to get out there, help out, or just, like I said, record those blowdowns and report them. Thank you guys. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.